Just finished tweeting out. It's like I get a 30-second counter, and then all of a sudden I got 30 seconds to wait for the tweet to pop up and then be able to message you. But at the same time, I'm here. You guys are about to file in. And yes, if it's Wednesday night, that means it's Drunk Uncle's night. And welcome to your Drunk Uncle Sports Podcast. I am your host, your main man, Anwar Richardson. And no, Carrie, you're not first, but you're somewhere in the line. And I appreciate all you guys coming in, filing in, waiting for all you guys to pile on here on this Wednesday night, because we definitely got much to discuss. Definitely have a lot of things to go talk about. Definitely have a lot of things to revisit as we're kind of here on this hump day. So as I always promise you, and always do, try to do my best here. If you're having a bad week, it's about to get better. And if you're having a good week, it's about to be even better than that. No matter where you came from and how you started, the goal for tonight is I want to make sure that you guys leave in a happier place, a much more fun place, all that kind of stuff, right? So, and by the way, Drunk Unk has been having what I would say would be a tough and challenging week. So you guys always ask what's in the cup. So you usually see the cup that's stacked up to here, right? And it's like, that's where I got like the vodka in. Unk went a little bit harder tonight. Unk going straight on that tequila. It's so 1800, because you guys always want to ask like what's Unk drinking. So 1800 tequila is what I'm on tonight. So because of that, I'm going a little bit smaller, a little bit more conservative. And I'm going to need you guys to help me have a good week as well. Before we get too far into the video, again, as you guys are starting to pile in 100 strong within 2 minutes, which means we're going to keep going and going and going. No fedora tonight. No fedora tonight. I went bald headed look tonight. Just switch it up for a minute. I need to do some laundry. And I also need to send some stuff to the cleaners that matches. So no fedora tonight. Bring back the fedora next week. Please, housekeeping issue. Hit like, hit subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, why would you subscribe to the channel? But at least hit like to the video. Like that'd be a good start to our evening. Make me feel like we're good. Okay, listen, real quick. For those who the first time you're watching the show, haven't seen this before, for those of you who already know, just sit back and relax, and now let me explain it to everyone else. If you first time you watch the show and you're telling yourself, what the hell is a Drunk Uncle Sports Podcast? Look, how I decide this thing, and it's like, this is a family. This is our family get together on a Wednesday night. This is our picnic. This is our family dinner. This is our weekly everything. And we all got different members of the family. And then we start thinking about your uncles. You got all kinds of different uncles. And I'm your drunk uncle, which means I'm going to try to be funny, entertaining, make sure you guys have a great time. And hopefully by the end of the night, you will make sure that you learn something new, and it was also educated as well. So that's the kind of concept of what the Drunk Uncle Sports Podcast is, and also a grown-ass man. So just to also know, I'm going to have a little bit of language here and there, and the later that we go, I mean, hey, who knows? It's always on and popping. So lots to discuss. We'll talk a little bit, recap on that Texas-Alabama game from the weekend. We've got UTSA coming up this weekend. So we got a lot of things to discuss. I got a lot of different topics that I want to get to you tonight. Might be one of those shows. Might be one of those shows where we're looking at it and it's like 11:30 and we're like, man, are we still keeping the party going? It might be just like that. So let's go ahead and see that. Brandon says, I was 1 point away from the pole assassin tattoo, and I'm sad about it. No lie. Brandon, I'm sad about it too. Quite honest with you, I was looking forward to you to getting that pole assassin tattoo. Brandon said he was going to get a pole assassin tattoo if Texas pulled off the win against Alabama. I don't know if he said it was going to be a tramp stamp or not. I can't remember specifically what part of the body, Brandon, that you said was going to be on, but I know you said he was going to get that, and I was definitely thinking about doing a video of you getting that thing done. Thought about you in the first half and thought about, man, this could be good. Really was happy. I was rooting for Texas at the end. I was like, come on, defense, hold them, because we got to get this tattoo on, oh boy. But then, of course, it didn't happen. So you got to save it for another time. But Brandon, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere, because when I get into the meat of what I want to talk about, the question might be, will you have another shot to live up on this bet this year? I don't want to give it away yet. Don't want to give it away yet, but I'm just telling you, we're going to get to that later. Absolutely. Blake, was there a couple of more messages that were super chats that we should knock out right now before I get into anything? I feel like that was it. Okay, well, good. Well, thank you, Brandon, for get started. I know there's going to be some more that are coming in as well. So again, man, I hope you guys are having a good week. Seriously, hope you guys are having a really good week. I hope everything's been going good for you. And like I said, I hope if you have any challenges of this week and it's been challenging for you, hopefully tonight will make it better for you. I have my own challenges too, man. It's been heavy, dude. It's been a heavy ass week. This single dad shit is rough. Is rough. Oh my gosh. Hey, if there ever was a person that would be a perfect candidate for a condom ad, it would be me right about now. Like Magnums, of course. If there ever was supposed to be a guy that could do a condom ad for you this week, it would be, if you came to my house, you would tell yourself, man, this would be the perfect opportunity to say, man, wait to have these kids and make sure you have some help also, because this single dad life is rough, is all I can tell you. Brandon, it says, Brandon, you didn't have to pay for a follow-up, but I appreciate it. You want to make sure we see it. Was going to be a tramp stamp, but my wife threatened to divorce me, so I was still getting the tattoo, just not the tramp stamp. We're beating OU. Brandon, your wife probably threatened to divorce you just off of a GP, just because she's got to deal with your ass. Anybody who was threatening to get a tramp stamp, that poor woman's dealing with a lot as it is. I understand her urge to go get a pack of cigarettes and never come back. Like, I get it. Like, I get you, and I get where you're at from an intensity level. And I am sure she's been looking for any reason to get out of this. She probably was rooting for Texas to win just so she could go ahead and pull it off, right? But hey, man, thanks, man. Well, listen, Brandon, again, keep that thought in mind. Don't put that on the back burner for a little bit, because you just never know. You just never know. We're gonna get into that a little bit later. Okay, so there's a couple of things that kind of came to my attention this week. A couple of little things. I want to start with not like a downer, but kind of I would say not positive, but it's just one of these things that, as life goes on, you start thinking of so many good things. And rest in peace to my main man, Sean Adams. Today marks the 5th year anniversary of the time he passed. And Sean and I were fantastic friends. Love that dude. Like, he is, when I first got here in Austin, he was the first person in the Austin media that really tried to reach out and be friends with me and connect with me. No one else really did. But Sean was the person that when I got here, anything I can do for you, anything I can help you out, let you know about the city, like all that kind of stuff, right? And so we would go out for lunch. He invited me to the house. I got to be around his family, and then we would just hang at games. We would always have this ritual of talking at halftime, and really just like he and I, I would sit in one row, he sat behind me. We'd always look at each other like all throughout the game. And then it was just our tradition. It was just him and I. At halftime of every game, we would start breaking down what we saw, what we didn't see, this and that, exchange ideas, and then go to the second half. And then he would leave at some point, and then I would call him sometimes on the ride home, and then to converse about that. So we had that kind of connection as far as the sports thing is concerned. And then, of course, the friendship, really close friendship that went along with that. And that when he had passed, which was on a Thursday, and I remember it like it was yesterday, we were going to go, that was going to be Texas when they played against USC. And it was that weekend. So he and I were going to get up there early to go, and we had plans for everything we were going to do in LA. And he had been like asking me before. He was like, "Where are you staying? Where are you staying?" Like, we're going to stay. I'm going to stay in the same hotel with you, so we can go to this. So I had reservations at the Marriott Marina Del Rey. Nice Marriott, by the way, if you're ever out there in the LA area, right off the water. Really cool spot. So free plug for Marriott right there. And so, any case, I got a call right as the plane was about to take off. I would say not about to take off, but I had sat in my seat, received a call about that situation, about him passing. Horrific plane ride subsequently after that. But Sean was a great guy. And as now it's about celebrating, right? Celebrating the life that he had, the legacy that he left, the lives that he touched, the people that he influenced. Just overall just greatness. So rest in peace to Sean Adams. Definitely one of the good guys. And do you guys want to hear my USC story? I've got a good USC story for when I went out there. And if you guys want to hear it, here's a crazy, crazy ass story to start the night. I've got a crazy ass story. You guys know my Lubbock story, which I get to visit Lubbock for next week, which could be the last time Texas ever goes to Lubbock, right? Could be the very last time. But I got a crazy ass USC story. If there are people, damn, I feel like feel like I'm pissing off people about this fedora thing. So I may take a 30-second break and go get this fedora because I really feel like I'm throwing off everybody right now. So I'm going to do this. Blake, entertain everybody. I'm going to be right back. Come on in.
All right. Thanks, Brandon, for the $20 super chat. My Adderall wasn't working that night. Left my ass off. She loves me. It's all good. Love the show, man. Y'all keep it up. All of OB is amazing. Blake, Jason Ketch, skinny dude that does the Creek cast with Jason on War. R.I.P. Sean. Well said, Brandon. Thanks for the shout out. What else we got in the chat? What's good, guys? What's good? What's going on? Ooh, how much did we beat UTSA by? 17. When they first announced that Quinn's injury was going to be pretty serious, and we obviously saw him at the end of the game not looking too hot in the sling, but I'm starting to feel better about this game. I'm adopted. Go away. I'm still feeling pretty good. Oh, here's on Warback. I'm feeling pretty good about the UTSA game. I think Texas wins by 14-17.
All right, thanks, Blake.
Here's on Warback. Back over.
Appreciate you throwing it in. All right, now does everyone feel better now? Because is everybody feel good? Are we back at home? Like, is everybody straight? Like, okay, here we go. Uncle's here. You're right. I should have started rocking this in the first place. I actually feel like I got my juice back, to be quite honest with you. So yeah, let's go ahead and do this tonight. I just want to see. I'm gonna go. And nobody has asked to hear the USC story. So since no one's asked to hear the USC story, I will continue going on with the show. But it's a good one. One day you guys are gonna have to ask for this again. 1800 tequila is in the cup tonight. Usually I got the big one. It's got some vodka in it. But like I said, Unk's had a rough week. And so we're going straight. I mean, we're just going straight into it. All right. Okay. Everyone's asked for the USC story. All right. You guys want the USC story. I'm going to tell you guys the USC story real quick. I'm finally ready to tell the story. Okay. I don't know if I've ever told this story. I think Ketch has told the story, but I've never told this story. So here's the story. Okay. So I'm at the Coliseum covering the USC game. Okay. This is the Sam Ehlinger game, right? The Sam Ehlinger fumbles and all this other kind of stuff. The freshman leading Texas into that game. The game that the game that everybody, we all look forward to, right? Just to see what Sam is going to do. And this is that game like Texas is holding that mighty USC team, down and close and everything to that effect, right? So we're getting there was a point in the game, where the media members are allowed to come down on the field. Now, it's different in every stadium, right? And it's all dictated by the school itself. And so UT has their own rules, but when you go to another school, they have their own rules, and it has to abide by those rules, right? So, for instance, when you go to UT as a media member, you are not allowed to be on the field before the game. Like, they don't allow you on the field before a game. But if I go to other stadiums, I get to be allowed on the field before a game, and UT can't say anything over that. Whether it's a West Virginia, whether it's TCU, just about and just about any other school, quite honestly, in the Big 12 outside of Texas, right? So they got to abide by those rules, right? And so, any case, we were getting towards the final point of of the game, crucial moments and everything like that. And I think like Texas had just scored. Don't remember specifically what happened. So anyway, Sam Ellinger, I'm allowed to be on the field, and there's other media members that are around, this and that. And Sam Ellinger is on the bench and he's praying, right? He's praying at this moment, right? So there's a couple other people, media members, that had taken pictures of Sam at that moment. And they had left. So I go, because I'm like, oh, this is probably a good picture as well. So I go to take, but I'm not like up on Sam, right? I'm not like in his grill. I'm back. Like, I'm back a ways. Like, if he's on the sidelines, I'm past the sidelines, behind him, like further enough where it's not even anywhere near him. So I'm safe distance. I'm taking the picture, right? Then all of a sudden, a member of Texas SID department, who's no longer there, by the way, but a member of the Texas SID department, he's like, "What are you doing? Get the hell out of here!" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, like, I got my pass, like, I can be here." He's like, "You can't take a picture. Get out of here." Now, so of course, they're used to being able to control things at UT, but this ain't your house. So I'm going, of course, to USC rules. So this is what happens. Crazy. So he was like, "You can't take pictures." And then dude literally comes over to me, grabs me by the hand, and tries to take my phone away from me. Serious shit happened. If I'm lying, I'm dying, right? Dude grabs me by the hand. I'm a grown ass man, and tries to take the phone away from me, right? I'm like, yo. So, but like, he's got my hand on me. He's wrestling me, like my phone. And literally in real time, like, this shit is happening. Right? And so I'm like, so I get my phone away from him. Dude pushes me. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Dude pushes me. And I said, "What?" From that point, I'm like, yo, wah, push you back. He pushes me back, pushes me back. Then he gets in my face and he's like, hit me. Go ahead and hit me. Punch me. Go ahead and do what you got to do. Punch me. And at that point, realized, oh, he wants me to do this. So he wants me to do this in order for some shit to happen to me, right? So I said, "Nah, man, I ain't gonna punch you, but you can go F yourself." He's like, "Come on, punch me." So I start walking away because I realized, oh, dude is trying to bait me into this thing, right? So as I'm walking away, he's bumping me. A member of the SID department, not lying on this thing. He's bumping me. And I'm like, "Yo, F you." So I realized, so I walk away. I'm like, all right, he ain't going to goat me into this thing. I realize what the situation is. Okay, he wants a 2-piece, but if I give him a 2-piece, all that's going to happen is I'm going to get fired, right? So I'm like, I'm not going to give him this 2-piece, right? So I got to then, the game still continues going on at that point. So get past the game, post game, everything to that effect, right? So then, I think it's like, so that's a Saturday. So on Sunday, I fire off, an email to like everybody. I'm talking about, because Mike Perrin was an 80 at that point. So I'm talking about Perrin. I'm talking about Fenves. I'm talking about legal. I talk about everything. I'm like, man, you guys had somebody that assaulted me. Like, I cannot believe this thing happened, right? And I outlined everything that happened. Right? And so, long story short, they eventually reach out, talk to me about it. And I'm like, all right, well, what do we want to do? I'm like, and what? I mean, what am I really going to do? I'm going to press charges on old boy. It just, I just like, all right, let's just let it go, let it go. So I don't know if anything ever happened to him on his side, but I will say he was still working uh, for a while. Then eventually there was some like cutbacks, and he got let go. But here's the crazy thing. This is the crazy part of the story. Crazy part of the story. Outside of that crazy shit, right? Where they never even really asked dude to um apologize or anything to that effect to me. It was just kind of like, oh, and then kind of, other people would try to say, spin it and like, well, Onward did something. It's like, no, Onward defended himself when he got attacked, So crazy shit, right? So when after at some point he got let go. And I got a message, I got a call one day, not a message, but I got a call one day from someone in the UT athletic department. And it said, and again, I think he worked there for like another year, like another year. Like, could you imagine if I had did that to somebody, what the result would have been? But anyway, it's neither here nor there. So, in any case, I got a call from someone about after from the UT athletic department, like, hey, I just want to give you a heads up. And they're like, what? Oh boy, who you got into it with, has done a public records request, and he's looking for your name as far as anything you've sent to UT related. So essentially, old boy was trying to see if what I had interacted, because you do a public records request, if I had done anything that may have contributed to him getting fired, because he was going to try to come after me at that point. Now, I mean, look, I don't put stuff in public things or whatever, whatever. But anyway, so whenever I think about that whole USC trip and the Sam Ellinger stuff and the turnovers and everything like that, I remember I think back to the time where I got assaulted by a member of the the SID department. Like, that shit really happened. Okay. There's my USC story. How y'all feel about that? How you feel about that? Boy, they should be happy I wasn't on nothing, none of that dark liquor that day, because it just would have been down. It would have went there. So anyway, that's Onward's USC, Texas USC story. You guys think about Texas and USC for bids. I think about it from a whole different perspective. Needless to say, this to say the least. There you go. I've never told that story. Ketch has been mad about that story for years, but I've finally. Yeah, there you go. I finally told it. I think Sean Adams would be happy. So anyway, so moving on from that, it's funny because when I talk, there's probably like a good 30-second delay. So like after I've finished, now I'm starting to see some of the comments to this. Oh, Kyle says USC turn into UFC. Yeah, you're damn right, man. That shit is going to that shit was bananas, man. Texas Alabama game though. Check this out. Check this out. Check this out. Did you guys see the ratings for the Texas Alabama game? I know, like, it's crazy. But now you guys understand, because when Texas Alabama was supposed to be announced as 11 o'clock game, I know a lot of people are like, what the hell? Why is this not a primetime game? Why is this not a late night? Anything to that effect. And then you guys have seen now why Fox put it in the way that they did, right? 5.7 rating average, 10.6 million viewers. And then in the key moments of that game, the last key moments, 15.1 million views when it was kind of down to the wire. But here was the craziest thing. It ended up being they say the most streamed regular season football game ever, college or pro. Most streamed regular season football game, college or pro. And by the way, that's because of Texas. Listen, nobody wants to hear it. And people want to say, oh, it's because of Alabama and it's because it's Alabama and all that kind of stuff. Well, guess what? Alabama's been playing a hell of a lot of games and they never put up numbers like that. But for some reason, when they played Texas, all of a sudden, the numbers were like that. So you've got to give Texas credit. It's because of Texas. It's because of the brand. It's because of the name. It's because of the appeal. Sure, game day was there and that helps, but it's not just a game day thing. Game day goes to a lot of different places. Game day goes places every single week. We don't have ratings that are freaking out the roof like that. But because it's Texas, because it's Alabama, and if you're the SEC, what you freaking did right then when you saw that and you saw those numbers, if you're SEC, you say, "Oh, hell to the yeah, we got to get this team in here sooner than later because this team is going to move the needle." They knew it. They knew it was going to happen, but to be able to see it in real time, instantly, oh hell yeah, that's what happened. So yes, and then of course fourth, I believe the stat says the fourth most watched regular season game in matchup history. So in any case, fantastic as far as the ratings are concerned. For those who were there, freaking awesome. Was that stadium rocking, man? Wasn't that stadium rocking? That shit was amazing. And then for you guys at home, clearly you guys were happy as well. So yeah, that was a cool atmosphere. Want to make sure for my housekeeping thing, we did that. Hold on. Overweight Lover had to say before I get to need a celebrity death match between OB and the Texas SID office. Man, you know what's crazy? Overweight Lover. I'm probably at a point. I'm not probably. That's probably been my biggest run in. I think everyone else at OB is a little bit more. Uh, what's the word? Yeah, they're a little bit more pissed off or a little bit more agitated with the Texas SID office than I am. I'm fine. I mean, I'm cool with it. Clearly, as long as I'm not getting attacked, like I'm straight, you know. Um, no, dude, you can't say it's a pillow fight for the ages. Like we're at work. Like what kind of fight that you want, man? We're not gonna go like that. But you know, you catch me in a good time. Old boy wants to. If he still wants it, he can get it. But nah, I'm good on that. It adds to it, but I'm good. But Bianco and I are good. You know, Thomas a step over there is real good dude. All those good. They got some good people over in the SID department. And at the end of the day, they do what they can only do what they're told. So that's why I don't jump on them as far as like access or lack thereof. Like if the coach wants it, they'll give it, and if not, they won't. But you know, I let them do their rants, and I just sit there silently because I complain about so many other things. I'll let them have the other small complaint. All right, so I did talk about that. There was another thing that I thought was really cool, and you know, the one thing about Unc as compared to some other folks. Do I travel to the road games, Shavam? Yes, I travel to road, and I'm at every game. I've been at every game since I've been here. So that's what Beat Rider does. So I go to every game. So yes, I'll be. That you have clearly you've never heard my Lubbock story. And I don't know if I'm gonna do it again this year. I'm probably gonna let that Lubbock story go. There's enough people who have heard that. I've said it too many times at this point. But in any case, I saw a really cool article that I wanted to pass along to you guys. I was going to say the thing about Unk is like it's a little bit different than other folks. I don't really hate on other websites the way they seemingly hate on me. So I have zero issues giving people at other websites props for stuff that they do. I understand that stream doesn't flow both ways, but I operate the way I operate. I can let other people operate the way they operate. It just kind of is what it is. But when I see stuff, to me, there's enough food on the table for everybody to eat. I don't know why everyone's fighting over shit. Like it just kind of is what it is to me, right? So I don't care. When I worked at Yahoo, like aggregation was kind of a big thing, you know. So I don't know, this whole competition thing that everyone's into really doesn't phase me. I don't understand. Just do what you do. But anyway, I saw something cool. So I say that all to say I saw something cool in On Three by one of their writers. I don't know. I'm probably going to say his last name wrong. It's Matt, and it's Zenitz. I think it is Zenitz. I know again, I apologize to Matt if I pronounce his name correct, but he did something that was always cool. It was an article. It was like 11 seniors who generated buzz amongst NFL scouts in week 2, and they talked about some of the Texas defensive linemen. What he did was he talked to Jim Nagy, who's the executive director of the Senior Bowl. And kind of got some feedback from them, and they mentioned Jim mentioned 3 Texas players that was getting like some traction and stuff. And so they mentioned Jim. I say they. I apologize, but Jim had mentioned Keandre Coburn, Moro Jomo, and Tavondre Sweat. And this is I'm just gonna read his Nagy's take. And again, this is from on 3. It is not my reporting. Just reading what they wrote. Nagy had said, we haven't had a chance to check out the tape yet this week, but from our scout seat in the press box in Austin, it looks like the interior defensive line trio of Coburn, Jomo, and Sweat stepped up in a big way for the Longhorns. If you take away Jace McClellan's 81-yard touchdown run, the Tides' other 22 carries netted only 20 yards. Coburn and Jomo are starters, but Sweat also gets a look from NFL scouts at 6'4", 303 and 1/8, 346 pounds, 33 and a 1/4 inch arms. Sweat has a type of body that doesn't grow on trees. And teams are typically looking for the NFL draft 3 interior defensive line prospects. So the cool thing about that, obviously, this goes back to what the defensive line was doing against Alabama. And look, if there's ever a game you want to ball out and get attention and have people noticing what you're doing, that's the game to do it. And so for a guy that, so look, they want to do it for themselves. And of course, they want to do it for their team, probably team first, themselves second. So for that game to have happened and that to occurred, it was a great performance by that defensive line. And you could obviously see that it's leading to them getting some NFL attention. So yeah, I that's like a really good thing. I thought it was a positive thing to throw out there. I'm not saying run and sign up for them as opposed to be on OB, but I definitely want to give credit to where credit is due. And it also, again, something interesting to keep an eye on as we kind of head forward. So wanted to make sure I did that. I had one more housekeeping note when I wanted to kind of throw in there before I start getting into like the meat of everything I want to talk about. One last housekeeping note, which I thought was kind of really cool thing. And SEC, just hold that thought. I'll get to your super chat in 1 second, okay? This weekend, because Unc can't see, so now I got these little words, so I got to take my glasses off. That's why I know I'm getting old. When you know you're getting old, whether you either got to take your glasses off to read or you got to put your readers on to see. Either way, when all this stuff is happening, you're getting old. But hey, this weekend, when Texas gets ready to play UTSA, 11 former UT student athletes going to be inducted in the Texas Athletics Hall of Honor. And that's going to be obviously Saturday, September 17th. Okay, so they'll have a ceremony. It looks like here. You guys can go if you want to. I'm sure if you're really interested to go, you can find this thing out. But here's the people that go into the Hall of Honor. Right, Sam Acho, KD, Kevin Durant. That's a tall dude right there. Oh, I almost cussed. That's a tall dude right there. I saw him. I was standing next to him on the Texas sidelines this past weekend versus Alabama. I can tell you, as a guy who's 6'2", there's no way I would ever get a shot up against this dude. Like never, just never. I'm just throwing him backwards and hope that Kelly going in. He probably still would block it. But KD gets in. Johnny Levine from tennis gets in. Dustin. I hate these last names. Dustin gets in. Majewski. However you pronounce your name, Dustin, and I apologize. I hate people messing up my name, so I would rather not say it than really jack it up. But the baseball, 2-time All-American, twice named MVP of the Big 12 tournament and NCAA Austin Regional. and earn College World Series All Tournament team honors. I'm saying all this, Dustin, to make up for me wussing out on trying to pronounce your last name. Because clearly you were here, but way before I was. Kirk Stackle from swimming and diving, Ovi Dotson from basketball, BJ Bedford from swimming and diving, Lindsey Gardner from softball. I know that name, by the way. Kate Goldman, women's golf. Looks like Robbie Johnson from track and field, and Ann Mata. I think it's Ann Grosbeck Mata from women's tennis, 3-time All-American in singles, and helped lead the Longhorns to 4 straight NCAA tournaments and 4 Southwest Conference titles. Man, Southwest College, talk about taking that one back. So anyway, those people will be inducted into your Longhorn Hall of Fame this weekend. So how about that? So props to all those great Longhorns and everything that they've been able to do. And being able to be honored like that. That's kind of one cool ass thing. All right. SEC, you're asking me a question. All right. Please help you understand day-to-day according to Sark's description. So my initial response is, so are we allowed now to use NFL terms in the college world? Because I used the word active and there's okay, never mind. Anyway, day to day, I just asking for a friend, because people were like, well, we don't really use the NFL terms in college. So what does that even mean? And then like a week later, the coach used an NFL term. And I mean, yeah, so we're smart enough to know what the term means. We're just dumb enough not to know how to apply it. Okay. So day to day, I'll explain it. Here's how I'll explain it. I'll make it real easy. What's up, Popeye? Sarkisian is not really keen on trying to give out injury updates. Every once in a while he does, and every once in a while he'll go ahead and give him some details. But there also are times where he just doesn't want to do it, and so there's some vagueness that he will kind of throw towards that. For instance, when other coaches were here, just during my tenure, right? So Tom Herman or Charlie Strong, if an injury occurred during a game, we would get an injury update, right? So someone got hurt first quarter, by second quarter or so, halftime at the latest, we said, such and such is out with a knee injury, not expected to return. That was this common practice. Like that's always what happened. And then and look, I'm gonna get to Charles Wright. I'm gonna get all to that. Just relax. I got you. Sit back and relax. I'm gonna do the show. Let me do the show. I got it. You're gonna get everything that you want. I'm just messing with you. So what's happened now, especially with the stuff that happened, I put this story out there. Pete Thamel also, put it out there over the weekend as far as the nature of the injury for the starting quarterback Quinn Ewers, what that looked like as far as his specifics and details and that, and really. Sark at this point has kind of been like, listen, he kind of said it, explained like he doesn't really want to give out injury updates. So the easiest thing to say is day to day. And we're in life, we're all our day to day. So he's not saying anything that's reinventing the world at that point. But that's just his way of saying, I'm not giving you any specific details as relates to the injury report. I'm not going to give it to you for whatever his reasons are, whether it's a competitive advantage, whether it's just control, a combination of the thing. But that's kind of where we're at as far as the day-to-day situation. So day-to-day, listen, understand this. Day-to-day doesn't necessarily mean a guy's going to play this weekend. You can be day-to-day for 2 weeks, day-to-day for 3 weeks, day-to-day for 4 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he's not going to be incorrect in saying day-to-day. It's just his way of not giving you the specific details that you want. So that's what day-to-day means. And so we'll just have to see at the end of the day what's going to happen. Hold on one second. I just had a source hit me up with something, so I just had to respond with them. So let me multitask here as well. So that's all that thing is, um, and that's all that situation is about. Is all that's about. So anyway, that's what day to day. Hopefully that it goes to it. You'll see what see, and that's his style. That's his approach. And you'll have to just don't feed too much into it. I'll just let that thing be. Um, okay, so here's the things I wanted to get into. Kind of like the crux of everything. And we'll start off as speaking of injuries, as Texas gets ready to approach UTSA this upcoming weekend. We've got injuries that are going on, which who's day to day and who is not, right? And then so Quinn Ewers is day to day, but his day to day is probably going to last a couple of weeks. And then there's going to be Charles Wright, who's a potential to play, and of course Hudson Card, who's dealing with kind of an ankle sprain, and he's going to be kind of in the mix to start this upcoming weekend. And look, we'll have to see because Hudson Card was out there and practicing to a certain degree on Wednesday. And here's what we know about the situation. Here's what Uncan can talk to you about. If you're Hudson Card, one of the motivating factors of wanting to play, because he wants to play, okay? Sources have told me he wants to play, okay? And look, if you're Hudson Card, you have an opportunity to play, knowing that you're not going to get yanked. You don't have to look over your shoulder and see Casey Thompson. You don't have to look over your shoulder and see Quinn Ewers. Like, you don't have to look over your shoulder at any point, or you don't have to be behind someone. If you're Hudson Card, this is a perfect opportunity to play, be free, be loose, all those kind of things. Someone asked me where Ajay Hall is. He did get in on a snap on Saturday. I can't control how many snaps he did get, but he did get in on a snap on Saturday. Hopefully that answers your question. So there's a question of like, okay, what did they do with that quarterback situation? And look, if you're Hudson, like I said, he wants to get in there, he wants to play, and I think he's going to push himself to play. What he looks like and how Sarkisian makes that decision is going to be really interesting, because is he at 65%? Is he at 70%? Is he at 75%? And even within that, if he is at 70%, is 70% of Hudson Card better than 100% of Wright? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that percentage looks like? What does that percentage, that whole entire thing look like for Texas? So I want to look up something real quick as I kind of get into this for you. 1 second. I want to look up something real quick. So yeah, I mean, like that to me is kind of like the interesting part. And again, that's the thing that if you are Sarkisian, you've got to really figure out like at that point is, do you go with a guy like Charles Wright and tell yourself, okay, this is that's worth going. And by the way, Blake, can you do me a favor since you're here? Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll and say, should Sarkisian start a banged up Hudson Card or a healthy Charles Wright?
Sarkisian. All right, sounds good. I'll get that going.
Yeah, and then I'll tell you when to come back in and give me the results. Okay, you can DM me in the private chat when they start coming in, just so we have But yeah, let me know that because I want to see. Would you prefer a banged up, Hudson Card over a 100% healthy Charles Wright? Like, let's put that in there. Let's see what happens as far as that is concerned. And you guys go ahead and vote on that. And then in the comments, as we talk about it, give me your explanation. Give me an understanding of like, what would you prefer? Which would you like to see? I'm kind of curious to hear that for you guys as well. And look, we're getting into so now what the kind of the practice situation looks like, and what that is kind of entailing as they kind of head towards Saturday in UTSA. And when UTSA, just kind of done some preliminary scouting report on them. Like, they've got three receivers that that are kind of been eating for right now. There's three guys. There's Akari Franklin. He has 20 catches for 222 yards and 2 touchdowns. There's Joshua Cephas, 17 catches, 218 yards for 1 touchdown. And there's Decorian Clark, 13 catches, 160 yards, but 3 touchdowns for Decorian Clark. And then they have a quarterback who's pretty good, very athletic quarterback, Frank Harris. This is his stat line through 2 games. Ain't too bad, by the way. Frank is 60 of 88. He has 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. What the hell? I missed Frank's passing yardage. Let me go up here and get you Frank's passing yardage, because that is something that we need to have as well. Give me 1 second. Okay. Yeah, 696 yards. Let me make sure I get that in. So let me say that again for you. Completed 6 of 88 passes for 696 yards, 6 touchdowns so far, 1 interception. His completion percentage is at a 68.2, which, again, not too bad, pretty good. And then as a rusher, 16 carries, 130 yards, 1 touchdown for him. So here's the thing. Thanks, Blake. Here's the thing that is, for UTSA. They're going to challenge this Texas defense, like that's especially the secondary. Like, they're going to try to stretch these guys and give them to see where they're at. Can they handle it? And they're going to challenge the secondary and go after them. And look, if you're Texas, you want to bring the heat, but you got to also know that Frank Harris can run. And so you also got to be aware of that. You also got to have a linebacker that makes sure that if it's 3rd and 6 and something doesn't happen, that this guy doesn't run for 20 yards or anything to that effect. Like, make sure there's no breakdowns, all those kind of things. So that's what UTSA is going to do, and that's kind of going to be their plan. They have a banged up offensive line. Really banged up offensive line. So this defensive line should be able to feast and eat. UTSA is going to have to get rid of the ball quickly. UTSA cannot think to themselves they're going to be able to establish the run against this Texas defense. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. They're probably going to have to throw the ball 50 times to win. There's just going to be the math on that. They're not going to run against this team. So that is your early scouting report on UTSA. It's a small scouting report, but it's a scouting report nonetheless. Let's go ahead, because I'm going to get into before I get into where I'm mainly going, let's do 2 things. Blake, come back in real quick. Let's knock out the couple of super chats, and then I want you to kind of give me an update as to where the poll is at.
Yeah, so the poll is at 61% in favor of Charles Wright, over 39% for banged up Hudson Card.
Wow. Okay, that's that. You said 61 versus 39.
Correct. Yep.
Charles Wright fans in the house. Does that surprise you a little bit?
Austin High, man. From my perspective, it would make sense to start Charles Wright and have Hudson back there ready to go if things went totally south. But with a high ankle sprain, I don't think you want to risk Card getting hurt for the long term for 1 game when you might not have any options except for Charles Wright moving forward if that happened.
Yeah, no, that's a tough one there. Okay, let's get into this. Let's talk to the super chat. You can stay in for this, Blake. Right. I think Eric Torres, aka El Presidente. See, I remembered Eric. Had a question. He goes, this is where you start Bijan Robinson Heisman campaign. 351 total yards versus UTSA. Rest card. Most important game of the season is in Lubbock. We need all hands on deck. Look, for me, and for my money's worth, this. I don't know. The Heisman stuff is cool, but this to me is the Bijan run kind of game. Like this is not a game where I need it, and either quarterback at this point, whether it's Charles Wright at 100% or whether it's Hudson Card at whatever percentage she's going to be. I don't need none of these guys throwing a whole bunch of times because
no,
there's just control on the ground. Give yourself Bijan, give yourself Rojan, give yourself Keelan, and that's what it is. You run through those guys. You gash them at all times, but the last thing you want to do is try to win this ball, try to win in the air. I just don't think that's a good idea, El Presidente. What do you think, Blake?
Yeah, I'm expecting a playbook kind of like what we saw in the first game, where the quarterback didn't throw very many passes over 15 or 20 yards. Yeah, and absolutely run the running backs. Now we don't know how healthy Bijan is, so that's an interesting thing going into the weekend. How much is he practicing? He said he's probably going to play. He's feeling okay. Just needs to battle through the shoulder pain. But, you also can't afford to lose Bijan. So I think a heavy dose of Rojo on Saturday for sure.
Yeah. And we still at where we still are we still at 61-39 before I let you go? Where we at as far as the poll is concerned?
60-40 at the moment. 60-40.
60-40. Okay. Yep. All right. Well, Charles Wright has all his Austin High people voting for him tonight. Charles, I understand that the most popular quarterback on campus is usually the backup quarterback. Who knew it was the backup quarterback that would end up being the most popular person on campus? And hold on, note before you go. Oh, wait, Lover. With the SEC telling schools to cancel home and home with Oklahoma, and it's for the two schools being in the SEC next year, 2023. There's smoke. I mean, there's definitely smoke. Not only as relates to that, but again, when you start talking about these the networks starting to do the negotiations and trying to figure out how that's going, since the networks are involved, there's definitely smoke. There's definitely, again, I wouldn't go overboard. But let it see and let it play out. I think this is always going to be in the strategy of let this thing play out. I always have, we've always known 2024 is probably going to be the drop dead date, but with 2023 being the thing, and when the Big 12 decided that they were going to start entering negotiations with the networks as far as their new contract is concerned, that's kind of opened the door, because remember, Texas and Oklahoma, or Choklahoma as you would like to refer to them, are still members of the Big 12, and so it's going to have to be one hand washing the other. So as Texas still being members of the Big 12, when they want to go ahead and start making decisions of the future, Texas and Oklahoma. I don't want to say Oklahoma. You could say that. I don't want to say that. But Texas and Oklahoma, you got me saying it. He's stumbling me and said, but Texas and Oklahoma essentially going to have to sign off on anything that the conference decides to do. And so, there's going to be there's going to be a conversation like, hey, if you want us to sign off on this thing, you're going to have to do something for us. And so that's where that thing is going to come in. So, 2024 at the latest, but 2023, put that on the table. Absolutely.
Yeah. We're going to have to, it's going to have to happen real quick if it's going to be 2023, because those schedules need to be made in the next month or two. But the ball is definitely rolling. It seems like it could be a possibility, but I would lean towards 2024 probably being the date.
All right. Thanks, Blake. I appreciate you. So one of the things I want to get into for the next few minutes, as we still you guys are filing in 353 strong on a Wednesday night. I hope you guys again are having a fantastic week. I hope everything's going well for you guys. For you guys who joined the show late, thank you, appreciate it. I hope this is inviting, having some entertainment value for you, but also some informative, good, fun Longhorn talk and conversation as well. So thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. It's interesting when I start thinking about conversations that we're having. And as we talk about Texas, especially coming off this game against Alabama, which, by the way, fantastic game, very well coached. I thought it was one for seeing Sarkisian every game that he's coached here at Texas. I thought that was probably the best game I've seen him coach. One of the better strategic games that I've seen a coach put out here at Texas. From start to finish, You can tell this team was well prepared. You can tell this team was well coached. Sarkisian had a lot of fun little wrinkles on the offense. Remember the diamond formation offense, but the defense played extremely well. They did good. They did fantastic. Came up short, obviously, and I know there's no moral victories technically, but there's still enough encouraging things that you said to yourself, this team is really freaking good, right? This team could be really freaking good. This team has some potential, and I know some potential is a dangerous word because it means that you haven't achieved something. So no one wants to have the potential. Everyone wants to have the finished product, right? So I totally get all that. And here's been some of my thoughts today as relates to, because we could talk about the Alabama game, but I feel like we talked about the Alabama game a lot. I think we've covered every aspect of the Alabama game. We understand what could have been, what may have been, what didn't happen, all those kind of things. But stay with that Alabama Texas mindset. And now, when you were watching that game, for the majority of the game, you thought to yourself, man, Texas has a chance to beat Alabama, right? You thought to yourself, this could happen. Even up until the very end, you thought to yourself, this is almost here. Like Texas almost has this thing so freaking close. It didn't happen. But then I started thinking about some other stuff as relates to this. And here becomes the what if portion of it. There's a what if, right? And what, I know the hypotheticals, we don't always want to do, but think about this for a second. Pose this in your mind for a minute. What if Texas gets past the next couple of weeks? What if Sarkisian has a good enough game plan to get past UTSA? What if he's got a good enough game plan to get past Texas Tech? And what if he's got a good enough plan to get past West Virginia? And then Quinn comes back. What if a few weeks from now, let's say Quinn comes back for the OU game, what if Texas hasn't lost a game? Think about that for a second. What if Texas hasn't lost a game and they can hold on and keep this ship afloat until Quinn Ewers comes back? What if they can do this thing? Because here's the thing that we believe that we know. Again, we didn't get to see Quinn Ewers finish the entire game, but we believe that Quinn Ewers is good enough for Texas to win every single game. And we believe from what we saw that Quinn Ewers would have been good enough to help Texas beat Alabama. So if you believe Quinn Ewers was good enough to help Texas beat Alabama, and if you believe Quinn Ewers is good enough to help Texas win every single game, then what if Texas can keep this thing afloat for a few weeks until he comes back? Think about that for a second. Let that marinate in you for a moment. Because I know what we program ourselves to be so negative. We program ourselves to be have so much PTSD. We program ourselves to tell ourselves things are not going to happen because things didn't happen in the past, right? We try to let our past indicate what the future may be. But let's say you don't do all that. Let's say just for one moment, you look at this lens with a little bit of optimism, a little bit of hope, and say to yourself, okay, what if you got a defense that's good enough to get past UTSA and limit them, and you got Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson that nobody on that team should be able to stop, and you get past UTSA? And then what if you're able to get past Texas Tech? And again, a West Virginia team that we just saw lose to Kansas. We're not talking about the killers yet, right? We're not talking about the killers on the team. We're talking about a UTSA team, good good program, lovable coach. I mean, Jeff Traylor was on a drunk uncle, right before the season. Love him, right? But what happens if they can do all that? Some stats I want to throw at you. I want you to think about this for a second, okay? And I get it. I know. I see you guys in the chat. You don't want to play this what if game or anything like that. I understand. You're an abused dog. But let drunk Unc be your rescuer today. At least for tonight. Let drunk uncle be your person. Allow you to be the rescue dog. Come on in, sit down. No one's gonna hurt you. No one's gonna abuse you. Let's think about this for a second. Wait, you guys want to live in a land of negativity? That's what you want to do? Or you can tell yourself, just what if? So look at this Texas defense. I was able to get some really interesting notes for the Texas defense, right? The Tex and you guys, some of you guys know this stuff already. I'm old. Ignore me. Ignore how old I am and how close I need to have this paper to read his little words that I used to be. One time I could put this thing over here and read it like this. And now I have to have this damn thing on my face in order to read it. But look, the Texas defense limited the Crimson Tide to 20 points, which is just the seventh time in the last 8 seasons that Alabama has been held to 20 points or fewer. Now check this out. In the first half, Alabama rushed for 94 yards on 12 carries, but 81 of those yards occurred on one play. Think about 94 yards on 12 carries, with 84 of them coming on one play. Now, I don't like to do the whole if you take away, it's fine. It's fine. You can't take it away. It happened. So let's not act like we're going to take it away. But if you just think to yourself, even within that, how impressive is that? That's what your defense was able to do against the number 1 team in the country. You don't want to play the what if game? Let's keep going. And following the 81-yard run, Texas forced Alabama to punt on the next 6 drives. Think about that. They forced Alabama to punt on 6 straight drives. That's how good this defense was. That's how good they played. Now, for some of you who are not on Orangebloods, first of all, shame on you, and shame on you. Why you've got to get on here. And I'm going to give you a little teaser as to why you should need to get on here. I got to figure out my glasses because I feel like this thing is getting sideways. I gotta go to an optometrist. Okay, but Alex Dunlap does his deep dig, which he goes back and looks at every single play continuously. He logs who played at what moment, all those kind of things. He charts it. He grades them. It's a fantastic look at the Texas offense and defense. He'll give you participation numbers. So for some of you who want to ask me about Ajay Hall, if you actually on Orangebloods, you would know that Ajay Hall played. You also know the participation numbers of every single person there, not only for each game, but for throughout the season. So for those of you who want to go from being the average fan to in-depth, informed fan, Orangebloods, I can think of way worse things to spend $10 a month on. Just going to throw that out there. Okay. I'm going to give you a little bit of an excerpt of Alex's column because I really think this is really good stuff that he wrote here. And I want you to get this. Allow me to read this. I'm going to put this one away from me. So I actually don't have to look at like I'm the black Mr. Magoo over here, which by the way, young Blake has no clue what I just said. But he was an old guy that you had like really bad vision. So here's what he said. Alex, this is what Alex said in his column this week, which was actually it ran on yesterday. And he talked about Gary Patterson. It said Patterson's fingerprints were all over the defensive game plan for the Longhorns on Saturday. We had to dig deep, know all too well the stunts and twists and unique ways of getting to the quarterback that Patterson has been able to employ against Texas O-line protection over the years. You guys know that. I know that. We have seen it, and we've seen Gary Patterson do so many crazy things. He's a fantastic coach. He goes, we've graded every one of those snaps and have lost collective years off our lives for displeasure. We saw DeMarvion Overshown line up off the edge and then loop into the A gap on Ted stunts, as well as guys like Ovia Gofu and Baron Sorrell. We saw a defensive line pinch twist that opened up holes to penetrate through. And most importantly, we saw production at getting to the passer and disrupting the ever-living you-know-what out of the reigning Heisman Trophy winner Bryce Young. Your defense. I'm not done. In all, this is a good stat here. You guys ready? This is a great stat. All right. I mean, this is something important for you to listen to. Okay. In all, Texas totaled 15 separate acts of quarterback disruption, which he includes as quarterback pressures, quarterback hits, or quarterback sacks. 15 separate acts of that on 57 total defensive snaps. So 26% of the time, the Texas defense was negatively impacting the opposing passer. 26% of the time against Alabama, your Texas defense was in Bryce Young's face. Whether they were taking him down, whether they're knocking him down, whether they're rushing him, 26%. 1 out of 4 times, he was feeling that smoke. Okay? Against Alabama. That is what your Texas defense was able to accomplish. Okay? Again, I'm just borrowing a little bit from his column. You sign up, or hopefully I'm teasing you a little bit here. So here's where this is the last thing I'm gonna go. That's when it is from Alex's thing. Thought it was really good. And again, he breaks down the offense. I'm just going to talk about the defense for a second, and then I'm going to let you guys can get on online and read out that. So it goes. So all of last season saw one game where the defensive coaching staff dialed up anything like we saw against Alabama, the undoubted most challenging opponent Texas has faced during Sark's tenure in Austin. And he said that game was against Oklahoma. And in that game, Texas was able to wail on an overrated Spencer Rattler behind a rebuilding O-line that had just lost Creed Humphrey to the NFL. He goes, NFL badly enough to get Rattler benched, which ironically is why Oklahoma won the game. So I go into, so with that being said, and knowing how good your defense played against Alabama, and knowing that, look, they're going to have to repeat it. Like it won't matter if you just did it one time. But again, that's what Alex wrote. That's what he put out there. So then my thought process to you guys is, well, what if at the end, when it's all said and done, UTSA thing and deaf, doom, and instruction doesn't happen? Texas Tech comes and deaf, doom, and instruction, and that doesn't happen. And let's just say at the worst, you get to West Virginia, and let's say he's back at West Virginia. Okay, let's just say he was able to recover quickly. And he's back at West Virginia. That's what happens if Texas gets through the next 2, and then he comes back. What happens if Texas gets through the next 3, and then Quinn comes back? Not saying dare to dream big, but I'm also telling you, don't discount this season. Don't give up on your team. And don't believe all is lost. Because if the defense that showed up against Alabama and, of course, Louisiana and Monroe, if we see this defense continue to play that way, then you're going to have, especially this upcoming weekend, you may not need a quarterback that does something that's out of the ordinary. You may not need a quarterback that's on a Superman role. And let me tell you, I've talked to some of my sources today, and they seem to believe that Sarkisian's got a game plan that can get them through the next couple of weeks. They seem to be pretty optimistic about it. Now, look, we'll see what happens, but people inside the building seem to think they might be able to get past the next few weeks until Quinn gets back. And what if they are able to do that? What if that can happen? Again, I'm not saying Baylor's next, right? I'm not saying Oklahoma State is next. I'm not saying, Baylor's this weekend, Oklahoma State is the following weekend, Oklahoma's after that. What if Texas gets past that gauntlet? I'm saying, what if Texas gets past UTSA, which is a non-Power 5 program, Texas Tech, which was a losing program the following year, last year rather, and West Virginia, which lost to Kansas, which I know we're not supposed to talk about Kansas like that. So kind of like we don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about Kansas. No, no, no. We don't talk about Kansas. Yeah, I got kids. I got kids, man. Blake, put the super chat on. Put the super chat on. Eddie V. QBIQ failed to keep themselves safe. Lose 7 yards or get first and more hurt. Shouldn't OC help QBs not take risks that lose seasons? Okay, Eddie, you abbreviated a little bit, so let me make sure. Oh, I think he's trying to say is he trying to say QB1 failed? Or you're trying to say the QBIQ failed to keep themselves safe, lose 7 yards, or get first and more hurt. I don't know who you're referring to, Eddie. So I'm trying to decipher the question. I know it makes sense to you. I mean, I'm lost in the second sentence a little bit, which is lose 7 or get first and more hurt. Shouldn't OC help QBs not take risks that lose seasons? If you're trying to say to yourself that you felt like the protection called for Quinn on that play is what resulted in him getting hurt, if that's what you're saying, and that if I'm deciphering that, let me know. I just want to make sure I understand before I comment on that, because I just want to make sure you and I are on the same page. The one thing I can say, I can hear what you're talking about. The one thing I would just push back a little bit. Yes, the play calling, you probably tell yourself, okay, you didn't need that play call at that moment, but you also can't predict that, well, if I call this play, then a guy is going to essentially ride my kid into the ground, get a penalty, but then he's out for the next few weeks. Like, you can't necessarily predict something like that. So that's all I would say to that fact. But if you can clean that up for me just a little bit, Eddie, I would definitely appreciate it. And then he says he thinks Card should not have run for the first. It's football. It's football. That's what happens. That's what happens. It happens. Guys go. It's adrenaline. Things are going to happen. That's just. I totally get what you're saying. But at the end of the day, when a guy's running, that you could coach and tell him everything, but that goes back to the Mike Tyson. Everyone's got a perfect plan until you get punched. It sounds like a certain thing until it happens and you're there, and then you're in the moment, and then at the end of the day, guys make decisions, and sometimes those decisions result in injuries, and that's just kind of how it goes, and that's just kind of how it went. All right, so what am I going to do? Let's do this for like a couple more minutes, and then we're going to get out of here. I'm kind of curious for you guys. I want to kind of gauge the room a little bit. I want to see where you guys are at. What do you guys think is going to happen over the next few weeks? Like, if you let me narrow down the question for you guys. Let's talk about between here and Oklahoma. So and Blake, get ready for this, okay? So we got the UTSA this weekend. We've got obviously Texas Tech the following weekend, West Virginia, and then is Oklahoma after West Virginia? Is that correct? Also, OU's after that. So, Blake, do me a favor. Let's do another poll, okay? So let's talk about the next 3 games going into OU. I want to gauge the room here, okay? I want to know if you guys think Texas will be 3-0 over the next 3 games. And let's caveat this without Quinn Ewers as a starter. Maybe Hudson plays, maybe Charles Wright plays, but let's go like this. Let's go 3-0, 2-1, 1-2. How many choices do we get, Blake? Do you get 4?
Yeah, we get 4.
0-3. 2-1, 3-0, 2-1, 1-2, 0-3. Let's go. I want to see where you guys are. This is without Quinn Ewers. Without Quinn. Okay. Let's go ahead, because that would be missing. Okay, guys, go ahead and post. And by the way, in the chat, by the way, if you say 2-1, and if you don't go 3-0, I need you to tell me what team they lose to. That's what I need to know. So King Kunta, you say 2-1. Tell me who they lose to. Darwin, you're saying 2-1. I need you to come back. Tell me who they lose to. You need to tell me what, because I want to also get a gauge of what you feel like is the dangerous game without Quinn. Let's put Hudson in the mix. Put Hudson in the mix because Hudson is practicing. So let's put him in the mix. Tell me the games that you think Texas could lose going forward here. 3-0, 2-1, 1-2, 0-3. And boy, the Tex seem to have it right now.
Yeah, everyone's saying Tech, which is what Mr. Jeff Ketchum also thinks. That was his prediction at the beginning of the season that Tech was going to be a tough game.
Yeah, I don't know. You think Tech? You think Tech's all that at that point? You think that is that what you think?
I think Texas can probably handle them. Also helps that it's a 2:30 game. Much preferable than the night game for sure. You never want to play at night in Lubbock.
Yeah, yeah.
But of the 3 games, Tech is the scariest. Tech is the scariest for sure. On the road in Lubbock, those fans are always rowdy. Chris Beard, everything else. Tortillas.
Yeah, I gotta watch a Tech game this year before I co-sign on something like that because I know last year I said some stuff that kind of bit me in the ass as it relates to Arkansas. I feel like they weren't that good, but I've got to see what it looks like, and if maybe again not having a quarterback is the kind of great equalizer, but yeah, it losing against Tech with the talent that's on here with the defense and the running backs, I'm still not 100% sold on that, but I want to hear arguments, for that.
I'm 100% with you. I think Texas goes 3-0 personally, but of the 3 games, I think Tech would be the one to be like, okay, I guess I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, because here's the thing. But okay, so here's the thing, though. Now, Blake, here's what's interesting is I believe this to be true. So let's say if what we get to after going into OU, so let's say that'd be like 2 losses, right? And then there's also ULM as so you're talking about 1, 2, 3. So we're talking about 3-2 at that point.
If they lose to Tech, sure, yeah.
Okay, so hold on. So then at that point, Blake, are we talking about a team that if Quinn came back at OU, Texas runs off 7 straight?
They could. Now, I'm not going to be the guy to jump. Like, I think Quinn is going to be really good. I think we saw flashes of that at the beginning of the Alabama game. But also, it's only 5 quarters of Quinn football, and I still need to see a little bit more, just to verify what we saw again. Obviously, Sark had the right game plan coming out. I mean, it reminded me of the Texas-Alabama national championship game from so many years ago when Colt McCoy drove the Longhorns right down the field against Alabama and almost, was right at the end zone and he got hurt shoulder.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I do need to see more from Quinn, just to verify.
Yeah, I saw enough. I don't need to say anything else. I think I saw enough for me where I don't think Alabama's a team you can fake it against. I think you can fake it, the funk against a lot of different teams, and it'd be fool's gold. I think it's hard to fake it against Alabama. I think if you can pull it off against Alabama, it's like New York. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. If even within that time frame and going against the starters, he made it happen. And so at that point, I saw enough to know, okay, if this guy's healthy, if you could do this against Alabama in that short period of time frame, I get the sense you'd be able to do it against any other team that's out there. I don't think that was fool's gold. I think that was a glimpse of the real deal, and that's why that's just why I keep going back to that what if, and I know what's a what if, and I know ifs and all this other, if my was it if my uncle didn't have two testicles, he'd be my aunt. I had to clean that one up. I had to clean that one up. I know we don't like to go in the worlds of ifs, but I'm just gonna say, like,
hey,
quick about that.
Calzada kind of faked it last year. That was his best game of his career, not even close against Alabama somehow. But I just thought that was an interesting comment. We'll go back to the super chat.
Yeah. No, it's cool. Biggins, Minnesota. Okay, I'm assuming MM stands for Minnesota, unless that's a abbreviation for something else. But I'm assuming this is a city in Minnesota that I'm unaware of. But now I am. Super chat. If the D plays that way over the next 3 games, then it's 3-0. With a running back room like we have, pound the rock and shut them down on D. Bigums, this is where I'm at. Like, you're echoing what I'm thinking. You're echoing we're right here. Just you and Drunk Unk have like the same, we're kindred spirits tonight at this point, because that's why I brought up those defensive stats. If they keep that thing up, Bijan Robinson, look, at the end of the day, he's supposed to be a first-round running back. So if he does what he's able to do, he's not going to face a defense as tough as Alabama going forward. Like, let's just be honest. Like, he had that. Every other defense is not going to be as good as they are. So if you're able to do that, give it a dose of Roshan, and have a quarterback that's just not making turnovers, I'm 100% in with you. Then Texas can win the next 3 games. And at that point, look, if Quinn comes back and we're just talking about getting past the rest of the Big 12, that's why I go back to the pole assassin tattoo.
I knew exactly where you were going with this.
I had to bring it all the way back. It took a while. I said, this allowed me, but it's kind of like going to church and the pastor opens up with the one thing and he waits all the way to the end, an hour later, to tie it all back into his original point. And there we have it, tied back into the original point. Look, guys, appreciate you guys tuning in to Drunk Uncle Sports Podcast. My main man Blake, the producer, holds it down behind the scenes. Super excited for you guys. Listen, make sure tomorrow, Thursday, if you're seeing this in real time in this week, like, look, if you're seeing this thing 2 years from now, what I'm about to tell you won't matter. But if you're seeing this tonight, tomorrow will be the modcast right around 11:30 in the morning. Friday morning, we're going to have predictions going into the week, and we'll with Prize Picks as a sponsor. I'll get to the super chat question in a second. So, and then on Saturday there'll be a post-game show with Jeff Ketchum and I. Yes, after the UTSA game. Don't go to sleep. Don't drink too much. Come back here, hit the like and subscribe button so you know when to come on. And he and I, actually, as soon as the game's over, Jeff is going to go on there. I'll be on a little bit later, but we'll have the post-game show after that. My son has a freaking AAU basketball game in San Antonio, probably at like 8 in the morning on Sunday. I'm going to be dead. I don't even know how I'm going to drive to San Antonio and not fall asleep in Buddha or something like that. I don't want to speak that on myself, but it's going to be brutal. It's going to be a long ass day. Like, I probably should take a nap before the game and just show up an hour beforehand. Okay, but let's go ahead and close this thing out. Because it's the nickname from his high school. And yes, I'm in Minnesota. Most loyal UT fan. It's so funny you say that. I was thinking of places to take my kids on a vacation. I actually thought about, after the season, taking them up to Mall of America. I've been there as a Lions rider, so I'll go there, once a year. And of course, when I cover the Bucks. But I enjoyed that place. I know there's other places in Minnesota outside of that, but I want to be somewhere indoors, and that provides me some fun indoor stuff. But Minnesota, I know people who live there really enjoyed it. So, but Biggins is a nickname for the high school. What that? So his high school name, the nickname is called the Biggins.
No, I think he's saying his nickname in high school was Biggins.
Oh, Biggins is his nickname. Oh, Biggins is his nickname from high school. I don't even know how you got that one. So we're just gonna let that one go. It's getting late. I don't even want to know why they called you Biggins and stuff like that. I'm hoping just because you ate a lot of wings.
We ain't gonna get into that.
Yeah, and I'm hoping you're not making this like really awkward and weird for everyone else tonight. Of course, I did make a Magnum condom reference earlier today, so I guess I can't really talk too much shit as well. But listen, for those of you who lasted $1:30, appreciate you. For those of you who joined at the middle of the show, definitely appreciate you. I hope everyone has a fantastic evening. Let's see what happens versus UTSA this weekend. Let's see if the hype is about UTSA is overblown and Texas just goes ahead and blows his team out the water, and we have zero things to worry about. What kind of football is this?
You see this? Just in case you're doubting my belief in Quinn Ewers, I acquired this a few months ago. That's autographed by Quinn Ewers.
Where'd you get that at?
Elite Sports Memorabilia, an Orangebloods member.
Wow. So did that be in a case?
No, it just sits up here.
Wait. Did you pull that off the floor?
No, it's
right back there. Like, shouldn't you have a protective case for that?
I keep it back there. It's good.
They have football cases for things like this.
I know, but I got a lot of stuff.
You should put the Oilers helmet underneath, and then you should get an enclosed case, and then put that football in there.
The helmets don't fit in the square. I bought it thinking the helmets were going to fit in the squares, and then they don't fit in the squares. That's why the helmets are on top. But that's signed by Earl Campbell, by the way. Pretty cool. The Oilers helmet is. I'm a big memorabilia guy.
You're a memorabilia guy who's not protecting your memorabilia. Like you've got to protect your memorabilia.
I take care of it. I clean it.
How are you taking care of it? It's in the elements. It's deteriorating as we speak. There's going to be a person who looks at this video 10 years from now and I'm going to say this thing was open to all the contaminants. Let's see that. Let's okay, real quick before we go. Let's see the Earl Campbell signature. Let's see. I want to see it.
I've had that for about 15 years, I think, probably.
Listen, man, I'm gonna put this. You gotta listen, man. No, I like it, but Darren's right, man. You gotta protect those things, man. That's not gonna be.
I cleaned it all the time, man. I promise. I'd take good care of them.
I mean, you've got. I like it, but I was gonna say right here, a lighted case we do. We gotta do. Yes, it's cool. Like it. But again, I would like.
We'll get there. It's
kind of like displaying your baseball cards and just not
even 15. Oh my gosh!
Wow.
23.
Okay.
23. Come on.
Okay. All right. We're at that point in the show where we're starting to ramble. So let's go ahead and let this thing go. You guys have a fantastic evening. I definitely appreciate. Oh yeah. Okay. Last thing. Who signed the Longhorn helmet? Real quick. Who signed the Longhorn helmet?
That's a big one. All right. Oh, you got to hold on for this one. All right.
Was it
Vince Young? I'm going to go through. There's a bunch of them on here. All Americans.
Okay.
Vince Young, Marty Akins, Steve McMichael, Tommy Novus, Earl Campbell, and Roosevelt Leaks.
Wow.
All Americans.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that's a heavy duty one. That's a pretty cool one.
Wow. It is. Yeah. One day you'll have to do a story on how you've got all these autographs, but I must say I'm very impressed by that. Then I'm going to go with everybody else who's going to now chime in. All this stuff needs to be in a case, and you've done very, very good work. But you need to protect that stuff from all of the elements that's out there. But definitely, look, you got some more and more people are telling you put
Look,
this thing in
this
the
is
case.
thing is this is like a third of what I have, and I'm gonna need a new place with more area for a nice glass enclosure for it all. But one of these days we'll get there for sure. But I
Okay,
take as best care of it as I can.
nice. Okay. Well, one day I'm going to display my autograph Zach Shackelford helmet from my good friend Zach.
There you go. Hey, I
Nah,
mean,
I just
you got some sap stuff, right? Surely.
no. So that's my boy.
Nothing?
I don't have anything. I don't have anything from him. Actually, I don't have
Ah,
any. I don't have. I don't think I have very few things that are autographed. To be quite honest with you, so I haven't done autograph things since I was like young, but
mhm.
like your age, and so that was kind of a big thing for me. But I don't do that. I like pictures now, so I like to get pictures with people more so than
Yeah,
the
for
autograph
sure.
stuff. But that's still pretty cool uh, stuff as well. Yeah, man, and make sure before you get married that you get a prenup. Um, and make sure it's you have it enclosed. All right. So by the way, real quick, the best SAP story this week, Darwin, cannot be told. So I'm sorry. But yes, and Oscar, we are still going, but we're about to sign off. So yes, an hour and a half. I told you some days I'm feeling it. It felt like I had a lot to talk about, and I felt like I was in the mood and felt like it was gonna go that long. So any case, you guys get some sleep. We got a plenty of content. I got kids. I need to take some Rogue products because they've been on my nerves. So, until then, well, I'll see you here next week, Lord willing. You guys take care, and everyone have a fantastic night. Thank you for showing. Thank you for supporting. Hit like, hit subscribe. Thank you, Blake, as of course the producer behind the scenes did a great job as always. You guys.